Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Captain's Log, the show devoted to discussions and insights into pop culture with an emphasis on cinema in the occasional themed episodes. This is your captain speaking, Jose Valle, and it's time for us to begin our transmission. Start date 10/28/2019. That was my best Shatner. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Captain's Log. It wasn't good. Today I'm joined once again by First Mate Mason Schrader, who was famously the first guest we had on the show. Mason, why don't you tell everybody what you've been up to since the last time you were on here almost a year ago?
Jose, I keep telling you I'm your therapist, and we're not doing a podcast.
No, what?
No, I'm doing good. Hi, everybody. I'm Mason. Like you said, I hope that bit didn't ruin everything.
Yeah.
I've been pretty good. I've just been going to school, waiting to get back on this podcast. Everyone keeps telling me, like, when are you going to be back on Jose's podcast? Jose's a bad podcaster. Your parents, they wrote me, hey, you get back on Jose's podcast. You were better than him at it, so.
My dad kept going on and on how it should be Captain's Log with Mason Schrader, and I should have been the guest.
And how he wishes that I was his son. And
he did also say that, yes.
Yeah, which is rough.
I was like, okay, fair enough, but that has nothing to do with the show, Dad. Weird.
I still have. I have to put in that. I don't know your parents, and if they listen to this, I feel weird about saying that.
Nah, they'll think it's funny. My dad will think it's funny.
I hope so. Yeah. Hi, Jose's parents. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So if you're a first-time listener of the show, last time Mason was on here, he was on the third episode of the show, so we're very early on. But we did a Thrills or Kills, which was we did a definitive must-watch Halloween movie list. And also, quick note: Mason's he's a friend, he's a fellow, he's a friend, he's an ally. He's a real good guy. I don't know. He likes long walks on the beach and
rainy days.
Rainy days. No, he's a fellow digital communications major
student. You got
so
it.
Yeah, so that's how we know each other.
Yeah.
In case you're too lazy to go back and listen to the first time we.
Oh, don't you shouldn't.
They're the worst.
People
Anybody that listens
to
the
podcast.
show is stupid.
Hey, no, that's not good.
But no, so that's a little about Mason. We both have worked on some pretty good. We've worked on some video projects together.
Yeah.
He helped a ton with my short film Stranger at the Crossroads. He was like assistant director. And
I don't know how much people care about me. I think they want to hear about movies.
Yeah. Speaking of movies, though, I actually just finished those two short films that I've been talking about, Static and The Shadows. So The Shadows just went up today, and Static has been out for Thanks, Mason. Yeah, they're up. They've been up on YouTube, and I'll leave a link in the description for those. Go check them out. Static, we're going to be entering that into a couple short film festivals, so that'll be fun and exciting. The Shadows is a fun movie, and you should all definitely go see it because it's spooky and it's perfect for this time of the year.
Halloween season, baby.
Yeah. But
Spooktober.
So we're going to be, last time we looked at what we called, I'm doing quotations here, but we called a definitive must-watch,
that's the air quote noise.
Must-watch Halloween list where we looked at like 40 movies. It wasn't very well thought out. It was a lot, and a lot of those ended up being like thrills, which we recommend.
Because we chose all of our favorite Halloween movies, and then we're like, let's just talk about how much we like these movies and not have like any controversy.
Yeah, but this time we thought it out a little more, and by that I mean we have a smaller list.
A smaller list comprised of movies that either one of us hadn't seen, both of us hadn't seen, and just a minority of ones that we'd both seen.
Yeah, and I like this list because they're not like, I think a lot of these aren't traditional ones that would be at the top of I've got friends over for a Halloween get-together, what am I going to watch? So I think I like this list because it's kind of like, we did the definitive must-watch, now these are like little gems.
Yeah, these are like your like deep cuts into movie night.
Yeah. So the list was made up of suggestions from everybody that suggested on Instagram. I did a little thing on Instagram where I was like, sending your
What's
suggestions.
What's your fans' names?
Oof.
You don't have one yet?
No.
The Loggers?
The Loggers. Yeah, there we go.
I don't know. It sounds bad.
The
Captain's Fanatics.
Wouldn't they just be mates? No. What do you call the crew members?
Oh, yeah. That's
the crew?
Yeah, that's a bridge
But then what's the ship called? You know what I mean?
I mean, we'll have to decide that
Yeah.
later.
We'll get back to you guys on that one.
We'll figure it out.
But yeah, so the list was assembled by suggestions of everybody that sent in suggestions, and then we also pulled from some of those classic Halloween lists from Elle and Esquire and 17 and Town and Country Living, the best.
I hear they've got a lot of. They're really good at the movies. Oh, yeah. I hear Roger Ebert is actually working for them now. Yeah. Yeah, Town and Country Living. Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into it. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. All right. First on our list is The Thing, directed by John Carpenter and released in 1982. Mason, why don't you tell us what the story is?
Well, Jose, a research team in Antarctica is hunted by a shape-shifting alien that assumes the appearance of its victims.
Okay, so The Thing. I'd never seen this movie before until last night.
Yeah.
When we watched it for this.
I remember.
You were there.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It is just like... I got a thing where I really love movies that take place all in like one area or like one room, and it can make a story that's like a super compelling out of that. And I think this movie does it, I mean, like excellently.
What I like about it is I have sort of this soft spot for any horror movie that takes place in the winter. I don't know why, but I love that.
It's harder to run away when it's
snowing. And like I used to go on winter campouts a lot, and there's always a sort of like uneasiness to winter wilderness, because it's not just you're in the woods. You're in the woods when it's, freezing outside. So yeah, like you said, you can't run away from it as easily. And then it's also like it's a contrast to the darkness because it's a blanket of white.
You do know that
it's fun.
There's no woods in Antarctica, right?
Yes, I'm sorry. Okay. I just meant like the winter
in general
wilderness is what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I liked this movie a lot.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The premise is really good, and I'm a big John Carpenter fan. I think he's a really good. It's very. I mean, it's 1982, right? So it's aged.
It's 2019.
Well, that undoes everything I was gonna say. No, but I think. Whereas, like the last time we talked about this of movies feeling old, but this one feels old, but it feels like it's aged well to me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. There wasn't any
bottle of cognac.
Yes, there was nothing there was nothing about it where I was like,
There were a few matte paintings.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but as a whole, in like terms of like the story, the setting, the way everything, like the actual movie, like the story plot, anything like that. I was like, yeah, this is good.
I think it's important to say right now that we will be spoiling these movies. So if you haven't seen them and you want to see them, it's probably good that because this is a movie that I don't think you
maybe
you
pause
want spoiled.
This, go watch it,
or skip over, watch it, and come back and hear our hot takes.
Yeah.
I want to point out that at the beginning, there's a husky running through the snow, and you thought it was a wolf.
You brought that up.
Yeah, I did. I wrote it down because I want people to know.
I was a little unsure because for a second I was like, oh, that's a wolf because the wilderness. And I was like, no, wait, is that a husky? And then I was like, it can't be a husky. Why would there just be a husky? And then I was like, so it's a wolf. And then it was a husky.
It was a husky. Okay, so I guess I jumped the gun a little bit. So this movie starts out. There's a UFO. It's crashing into space. It's flying into space. It's not really entirely clear how it's getting into Earth, but it's going down. There's a UFO going down to Earth.
You pointed out, you pointed that out to me. Where I guess you said it wasn't.
The way I understand it is that John Carpenter did not originally intend on having this spaceship at the beginning of it. I might be thinking of Predator. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it's this one though.
I'd heard it about Predator too, actually.
So I'm not sure. But either way, it stands that they shouldn't have put. It feels
awkward.
They shouldn't have put it there. It feels forced.
Yeah, and I wrote that down too. That I was like, it just felt like a classic. Oh well, they're not going to understand that it's an alien, so we have to point out that it's an alien.
It crashed from space.
Yeah, I think had that not been in there, there's a moment later on in the movie where you see the downed UFO. Had that not been in there, it would have been like, oh. Is this thing an alien?
Well, and also, this movie, it doesn't hinge on it being an alien. It doesn't have to be an alien. It could just be a thing from the ground. That was the original title of the movie. Was The Thing from the Ground.
I thought it was good. opening because it's a very strange opening to it because it's just some guys in a helicopter trying to shoot a dog, and I was like, what is going on?
Right.
Why are they trying to?
And
kill
so the
dog?
helicopter, it's chasing this husky that Jose thought was a wolf. It's chasing it. It chases it to an Arctic base, and we meet.
I wrote, God, young Kurt Russell.
Yeah, I woke. I'm woke. I wrote, is there a more charismatic person than Kurt Russell? Because even when you see him,
Yeah.
like the first time, he oozes screen presence and charisma. He's got this amazing thick beard and this wavy long hair. Oh,
locks.
dude, it's amazing.
Oh, man.
He looks so good.
God, what a man.
It's amazing. And so we meet him. He's the titular character,
Hero,
the main
yeah.
character, McCready, Mac
What a
for short.
fucking name.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
So we meet him. The helicopter flies in. You know, they have a whole thing. It's Norwegians. They're trying to kill this dog. The Americans kill the Norwegians, and that's where that's it. You're thrust into this movie now. You already have questions.
Yeah.
Why are they hunting this dog?
Yeah.
Why are they trying to kill it so badly? Mm-hmm. You know.
Yeah. I do love that. Yeah, like you said, it's a great introduction to him because he's playing chess with this electronic chess
wizard.
Chess wizard.
But it's a machine built only to play chess.
Yeah, and he's it wins or whatever, and he goes cheating bitch, and then he pours his drink into it.
That's great too. He makes a move, and he's like, "You're losing it, old girl," and then it immediately makes a move, and it's like checkmate. Yeah, he just dumps his whiskey on it. He's like, "Cheating bitch."
I sort of miss it. Happens in modern movies now, but throughout doing this show, I've noticed that there's sort of things that we're missing from old storytelling in these modern sort of blockbuster, because it feels like a lot of these major studios approach every movie now as with the intention of it being a blockbuster.
Is this Jose Scorsese rant?
This is Jose Scorsese rant. No, I think it's just good that Carpenter and did Carpenter write the script for this?
It was actually written by Bill Lancaster
Okay.
and John W. Campbell, but he's the guy who wrote like the original. He did the story, the like book way back. The screenplay was Bill Lancaster.
Okay, yeah, but I don't know. I just felt like it was a good introduction for the story and for the characters. Yeah. So right off the bat, it grabs your intrigue.
You've got a mystery from the very beginning.
I don't know. What else do you want to continue this? What else did you have written down?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of things. I think we got to talk about the cast, the cast is phenomenal. We got Kurt Russell, obviously. Wilford Brimley is amazing as Blair, the scientist in the movie, and then Childs, who is Keith David at peak Keith David.
I'd never seen young Keith David.
He's amazing.
Thrown off. I love Keith David.
He's amazing. Yeah, he's really good in this movie.
So good.
So this dog, he's on the base or whatever, the camp. Everything's kind of weird. They decide, what happens first? The dog attacks all the other dogs, right?
Yes, because at first I just think it's a regular dog. So,
right.
What's
as you
his
would
name?
when it looks like a
Clark.
regular dog. Clark.
He's like the dog man, the most tragic character.
Yes,
in this
Clark, played by Richard Mauser.
So he hangs out with the dog because he just thinks it's a regular dog.
Man. He's in charge of all the huskies.
Right.
There's a whole kennel of huskies on this.
So he goes and puts it in the kennel with all these other huskies.
Yep.
And it starts.
It goes nuts.
Immediately, you get a sense of the fucking just
the
disgusting body horror in this. That's so fucking good.
I mean, it is just amazing.
It's
not CGI. It's all these practical effects. I'm not entirely sure who did it, but
throughout moments in the movie,
he was
I was
amazing.
Like,
yes, it was amazing.
But yeah, so he starts going fucking all tentacle monster on the dogs because. Do you want to explain kind of how the thing works?
Yes. So the thing is not a thing. It's things. Mm-hmm. Basically, the way it works is it's this alien, and every cell of this alien is its own creature that works in like a hive mind, basically, where each little cell is its own entity with its own like will to live and things like that. So what it does is it like all these little particles of it encapsulates a creature or an object, a person, or in this instance a dog, and then gestates like a womb and like spits it back out, like almost like a 3D printer. is the way it kind of works. So it makes these exact copies of whatever it takes. It takes some time. It doesn't do it in like an instant, but it creates these exact copies, and it doesn't really have a shape. Like the thing is not actually like an alien. It's just an amorphous. It just looks like whatever it's around, basically.
Yeah.
Like a Cronenberg-esque, like melted version of the things around it.
And a big thing that I liked about this movie was because compared to like the most recent movie that we just watched, is it doesn't hesitate to just jump into it. Like it right away is like, okay, the movie's not about 40 minutes of build up, but it's rather, here it is. The rest of the movie is them dealing with it.
Yes, it's
and
all about this building this paranoia, and they don't. It's not like they go through a bunch of backstory and then they build it. They're building this sense of paranoia and distrust all while telling the story.
And I also like that the characters weren't like, this can't be real.
Yeah,
there's no way that this, because they find these horrible mangled other things.
They visit the Norwegian camp, the people that were chasing the dog, and they find it's a mess. It's all burnt down. Everything's messed up. And like destroyed in it. They find this burned corpse of like a mismangled human, basically, and they take it back. They do an autopsy on it, and Blair, the scientist, who is Wilford Brimley, as on IMDb it actually says Wilford Brimley, Dr. Blair, and then in parentheses as Wilford Brimley.
Oh,
so but anyway, so he's He's a scientist. They do this autopsy, and he immediately basically like figures it out. He's like, this is a creature that ingestates something and then turns it into and then spits out an exact copy of it. And then he like opens it up, and he's like, you can see here, this is what it was doing. This is like an unborn and unfully created version in this thing, or inside of it right now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good movie because it's a little different than your typical. It's not a slasher. It's not a supernatural thing. It's not a It's not like a demon or something like that. So it's different there. It's a different setting. I liked that the body horror is like one of them, like the main driving thing to unsettle you.
The creature effects are phenomenal.
The score for this I thought was really good too because it's very Carpenter-esque, but it's not done by Carpenter.
Marconi,
yeah,
who did The Hateful Eight, a bunch of those other spaghetti westerns. He's a very big.
But it's good because it's
composer.
perfect. Yeah, it perfectly unsettles you.
Yes, it's not really. It's less music and more just tones and sounds that kind of just make you feel uneasy. It's not like a song with like a beat or anything, but it is really, really good. Is
there anything else that do you think we need to add?
I think we'll finish up our quick little recap of the movie here. We'll speed up, but a few of my favorite parts is as everything goes down, Blair, he decides he has a computer from the 80s that has an alien invasion software that can not only simulate how the cells of this alien are. So it's got this. Blair's got a software that not only can predict or simulate how this alien reproduces other cells and copies it, it can also tell you the exact amount of hours this alien would take to take over the entire world, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember you being like, what kind of software did they have?
I don't even think we have it now. We don't even have an alien invasion like software to run now.
So that was real.
It just makes me laugh. Yeah. That was just one of those things that I feel like in the writers' room they were just like, oh, how do we gotta show the audience that how dangerous this can be. What do we do? Oh, he just looks at it on his computer.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, people don't know how the computers work in 1980 whatever. So it's fine in 1982. It's fine.
Yeah, the time it would have taken was like 3 years for it to consume
right,
the entire
but it says
Earth.
like 27,000 hours.
And we were both like, whoa. But then I was
what
like,
is that? Like a few months? And then he like looks it up. It's like, oh, it's 3 years. Yeah, that's less scary.
Yeah. Yeah, so then after he figures out, he's already weary of everybody because he thinks that...
Oh, yeah, it also can calculate the percentage of that one of the people...
not good. It was 75% that someone's already been compromised.
The percentage that someone in the team has, in their team of like 10 people. That leaves a 25%
chance that no one has.
No.
Yes.
Yes, you're right. I'm sorry.
What are you
I misunderstood. Just move on. Cut it.
So he already starts distrusting everyone.
And to the point where he goes out, he sabotages the helicopter in the sense that he doesn't cut oil line, he just takes an
fucking
axe to the
hacks the shit
entire
out of it.
dashboard, and then he destroys the radio room too.
Yeah.
And so no one thinks that Blair is an alien, but they understand that he's gone completely crazy.
Yeah.
So they lock him in a room and then forget about him for like half the movie.
And then, okay, so what I'm trying to remember, what comes after that?
So after that, they decide they have messed it up. So after that, they decide that they need to figure out who's the alien, and so the doctor of it decides that the best way to test is you can test it through the blood. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. So they go to they all have a reserve blood bags in case of emergency, I'd assume.
Yeah.
And it's someone has slashed the blood already.
Yeah.
So now they know for sure that one of them is an alien, and only 2 people have the keys. The Colonel Gary.
Yeah.
And he's like an army commander. It's weird.
He's
and
like,
then
I'm assuming he's like a security officer, basically.
yeah, and then no, he's in charge of the whole base.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So which is why the guy in charge of the base and then the doctor are the only 2 people who have the keys. They don't know who smashed up the blood though. So Gary understands that why people would be suspicious of him. Says, I'm not going to be in charge. Someone else can. Yeah. Keith David goes, I'll do it. And Kurt Russell goes, how about someone a little more even-tempered takes command? And so Kurt Russell's now in charge.
Which I would be like, yeah.
Yeah,
Kurt
no,
Russell,
obviously. Yeah, I mean,
be in charge.
Yep. So they things get more paranoid. Things start to happen. So all of the scientists die. Mm-hmm. Blair's still alive, but he's in the cabin. The doctor dies, and then Fuchs, who's like a backup scientist / doctor. Yeah. They don't really explain the roles of all these guys very well.
But yeah, so one by one, these guys start.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of the people who can control, who can test it. So they all die, and we're just left with like the cook, just a random stoner who made his way onto the base, Palmer.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
The major and
Windows. Who's like the
radio man.
Guy,
he reminds me of Radar from MASH. If you watched a lot of MASH as a kid, like
Wasn't
me,
my thing.
that show from the 50s or whatever.
I watched the Brady Bunch
from the 50s, but you watched the Brady Bunch.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Every day, I would not miss it.
So anyway, we're probably shouldn't go through this entire movie beat by beat.
So basically, so there's stuff happens, and then you get to the end where there's an understanding between all the characters that are left off, it's Childs. It's Childs. The 4 that are left is
Childs, Gary, the cook, like Knowles or something. The cook is Knowles, and McCready.
Is Gary the one that's left?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. It is Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they understand that they're not getting off the base, but they have to make sure that
they kill it because it can be
otherwise
if it gets
it's gonna
frozen,
hibernate and then wait for the rescue team.
Yep.
Yeah, and find its way to population. But there's a bit where they go to before this. I just want to bring up. There's a bit where they go check up on Blair, and they open the door, and he's just eating beans out of a can, but right next to him is just a noose. And he just
looks up at him. I don't want to be out here anymore.
And that was so funny to me, just because it was just randomly.
Just a noose, just right next to him. He's just, now wait a minute, McCready. I told you, I don't want to be out here anymore. Yeah. I'm not dangerous. But it's funny that they bring that up because the noose is there, right? But he didn't use it.
Yeah. Do
you know why?
Because
he was going to kill himself, but the thing got to him first.
Yeah.
Because later on they go into his shack.
Yeah.
Blair's gone, and we see that he's been trying to make a spaceship underneath it, the base.
Yeah.
So, which I think is like an ingenious little hint that Blair knew he was going to kill himself, but he decided not to. When the thing before he could, the thing got to him.
Yeah.
He didn't kill himself, and he got found out. That's why he was trying to get back into the base, which I think is just genius.
Yes. And then in the end, it's eventually they blow it up, and it's Childs and
McCready left,
and you don't know
if one of them
is a thing. Although I think it was Childs.
Why? Do you believe in internet theory?
What?
Do you believe in internet theory about why it's Childs?
No, I haven't seen any internet theories. I just think it's him because he disappeared for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
He missed all of the last action.
Well, he did say he thought he saw Blair.
But Blair was down in the tunnels with them.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, he was.
Well, he was later,
Blair face.
but he went out. He
rips
thought he
Gary.
saw Blair. He ran out into the storm, and then he got lost in the storm. That was his excuse.
I think it was Childs, because then Kurt Russell's character, McCready, he hands him the bottle and he smiles, almost as if knowing. I don't know.
Say it.
There's gasoline.
Yeah,
in the
there's
bottle.
not gasoline in the bottle. That's dumb.
He was
The
building
point is,
Molotov
the
cocktails.
movie, yes, with alcohol. It's whiskey. You don't think he drinks a high alcohol content whiskey? He's McCready.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. But anyway,
I like it. I
it's an
prefer not to
ambiguous
think
setting.
about it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
I'm okay with that.
ambiguity. I don't want to know. But it's neither of them.
Okay,
They're
so
both
for
just
you,
going to die. They're humans.
thrills or kills? Thrills or killed?
It's a thrill. I mean, it's just a good
thrill.
movie. You could watch it all the time.
Yeah, but if
But
you're
it works
looking
for
for something a
Halloween.
little different, then yeah, this is perfect.
It works for Halloween for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next up on the list is Donnie Darko, directed by Richard Kelly and released in 2001. What is the story of Donnie Darko, Mason?
Well, a troubled teenager is plagued by visions of a man in a large rabbit suit who manipulates him to commit a series of crimes after he narrowly escapes a bizarre incident.
This movie features two very attractive people, three actually. Young Jake Gyllenhaal, young Maggie Gyllenhaal,
They play high schoolers.
yes, and
How old are you?
doesn't matter.
How old are they supposed to be? Like
Around their
15,
age.
16?
No, he's probably 16. She's definitely a senior. I like to think she's 18. But she was 24, so it's fine. And
Jose Googled this specifically not to feel creepy.
and Drew Barrymore
Yeah,
as a very hot,
teacher.
seductive teacher.
Jose's got it bad. So bad. He's hot for teacher.
I'm hot for teacher. Teacher being
Drew Barrymore. Yeah, no, this movie was
It's-
great.
okay.
So this is a movie I had never seen before, and neither
Same,
had Jose.
yeah.
So we
I'd
watched
been
it for the
wanting
first
to
time.
for the longest time.
Yeah, it always looked really interesting to me.
It's a bit of a slow start. That's what I wrote down. That I thought it was a bit of a slow start. I mean, but I also think the whole movie is a bit of a. You have to really be paying attention to it.
Yeah.
Because there were moments where we were like, wait, what did they say? We had to go back.
Yeah.
Because it's also very hard to listen to. It's very
It
quiet.
is.
It's
Hard
a
to
very
hear
quiet
sometimes.
film. So I don't, so you have to, feel like you really got to pay attention to this one. I wrote this. So it starts off with him waking up in the canyon and he rides his bike down because we later find out that he sleepwalks. And so he rides his bike down back home and then the incident is a jet engine falls on their house, but he
Right.
survives because
He was not home.
he was. He's woken up by what was the rabbit's
Donnie
name?
Darko. No, Frank. Sorry.
Frank. Yeah, the rabbit wakes him up and brings him outside.
Right.
And
So he was not home.
yeah,
when
'cause-
the engine
he was
hits his
he
room.
was outside because he tells him
He
that
should
the
have
world-
died, but he
the
didn't
world
because
is
he
gonna
wasn't home.
is gonna end in 28 days or whatever, and then he
Yes.
goes, why? Because he does this whole
He's
thing throughout the
creepy,
movie.
yeah.
But I just wrote here. So then we kind of go through his days going leading up to the end of the world.
Yes.
And he goes to his high school, and we get to see his high school, and there's kids doing cocaine in the hallways.
There's kids doing it's the
I wrote-
most punk rock high school in the world.
I wrote that high school is fucking rad. Cocaine
It's
in the
the
hallways.
coolest.
Yes, please.
It is insane. It's like literally.
Drew Barrymore is more than likely sleeping with students. She at least wants to sleep with.
I'm gonna
Jake
throw in
Gyllenhaal.
here that there's nothing in the movie that actually indicates that.
oh,
Jose's
come
just
on.
choosing to believe
Oh,
that.
come on. The new girl walks into class and she goes, "Where do I sit?" And she goes, "Why don't you sit next to the boy you think is
No,
the
that was
cutest?"
a weird scene. So yeah,
And then she
the new
sits
girl,
and then she looks at both her and Jake Gyllenhaal like she wants to see them do things.
So they're in English class, and this new girl comes in, Jake Gyllenhaal's love interest, and she's like, "Where do I sit?" And she's like, "Why don't you choose?" And so she like stares at everybody, and all the boys in the class are like making like "Hey girl, what's up?" Except for Donnie Darko, Jake Gyllenhaal, who's just kind of like looks at her.
Who's like, "Hey, I'm a schizophrenic."
I
next to me.
have mental issues. Which she says that a lot.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she's like looking, and then Drew Barrymore's like, it's just some poor girl that sits next to Jake Gyllenhaal's like, "You get up." She's sitting there now. And then she like really creepily like stares at them both like, yeah, like you two are next to each other now. You're welcome. And it's like, why?
What I liked about this movie was it's set in the 80s, but it was made in 2001. But it looks as if it's an old 80s film.
It really does.
I'm sure they must have done it on like film or something.
I don't honestly know.
But especially the transitions in between scenes where it's like 12 Days Remain or whatever. It's like this sort of shaky kind of thing that you would see in 80s movies. I think it's a very strange experience, the entire movie, but it grabs your attention even when nothing really exciting happens.
Yeah, you just want to know.
It gives you little things that you're like, okay, wait, where's this going?
Like, there's this really mundane conversation that Donnie Darko's parents are having, where his dad's like, hey, do you remember this kid from high school? He said he was doomed and he died on the way to prom. Like, they could say the same thing about Donnie or whatever. And it doesn't really have anything to do with anything.
See, here's how...
But we, like, rewound that scene and watched it, like, 3 times, like, trying to figure out what it meant, and I don't think it meant anything.
I think we both said this to each other, but at its core, I feel like this is what the Joker was attempting.
The most recent Joaquin Phoenix
It's
Joker.
what it was attempting, but this is a much better...
It's a portrayal of mental
execution
illness.
of it. Both of the movies are at its core about a young loner with mental illness,
right?
Who his delusions or his illness, his psychosis leads him to
dark places,
to dark actions, and he starts embracing it. Of
course, they're a little
towards
different.
the end of it.
I mean, Donnie Darko isn't committing murders or stuff like that, but it's just this. It's very subtle to me. Like it's a very subtle way of explaining a battle with mental illness and losing without him like one day being like, I'm trying my best, and then immediately being like, oh, I'm gonna murder Robert De Niro.
Yeah,
that was my Joaquin Phoenix.
Hey, Robert De Niro, what do you get when Todd Phillips directs a Joker movie?
Hot take.
What? You get a not as good Donnie Darko.
Ooh. That's a hot take.
It's a hot take, baby.
I can't even pick that one up. It's too hot.
Big Todd Phillips is going to cancel this show. Let me tell you right now.
You better be careful. He's got like a blank check for Warner Brothers now.
Yeah.
He's made them a lot of money.
I'm never going to be able to do anything in the industry because Todd Phillips is going to be like...
you lack a talent.
Well, that too, but Todd Phillips is going to be... you can't be funny anymore.
You can't be. That's why there's no comedians anymore. Exactly. That's why you don't see a single comedian left, because you can't be funny anymore.
God, what a...
Well,
anyway,
right, tangent.
But yeah, so this, I don't know, there was... Unlike Joker, there were moments in this where his actions that he does throughout the movie lead you to almost fear every time he's on screen, because you're like, oh God, what is he going to do
And
next?
it's much less severe. I mean, he's not committing these like one of the crimes he commits is like flooding the school by breaking a water main, but it's like that felt like it was scarier than him like murdering than like Joaquin Phoenix murdering somebody in Joker.
Yeah, and so every time he was on screen and he was off his meds, and he did his little smile or whatever, that little look that he gets, I was like, oh,
well, that's the thing. He wasn't ever actually off his meds. He was just not. It was
I
like
guess
not
you're right.
enough.
Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah.
There was a scene with his therapist where they were like, "We should up his dose. He's got schizophrenia."
I don't know.
So here's my thing. One more thing before I get to my final point about.
There's a young Jerry Trainer in this. Spencer from iCarly, so that's fun.
And Seth Rogen.
Crazy Steve. And Seth Rogen.
Who has a line that goes, I like your boobs. Which is fucking hilarious. But the dialogue it feels weirdly real. I mean, like that.
Yes.
Like, I mean, the Seth Rogen thing. We were joking about it, but honestly, like that feels like the type of dumb thing. It's not like this really poignant, like sharply written. It's just like they're talking about like weird things. Like at one point, they're talking about like all the Smurfs having sex with Smurfette and stuff.
Yeah.
But it like feels like this like really like real stupid dialogue that like these teenagers would actually be having with each other. And it doesn't feel like, like this movie Hollywood written thing where like they always say like the perfect, most poignant thing at the right time.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was dialogue written by 30-year-old men, but more so like it was they brought in some high school kid and were like, hey, what do you and your friends talk about? And then they said those
pretty
things.
much.
Yeah.
The way they, even like the important scenes of dialogue, the way they word them is like really realistic, which I really appreciated.
Yeah, I really like that. I thought that was pretty good performances all around. There wasn't anybody in this movie that I was like, okay.
With that being said, Donnie Darko, thrill or kill?
I think for me it's a thrill because it's unsettlingness that sticks with you. At least for me.
Okay.
I continuously thought about it after we'd watched it, and I was like,
That's fair.
man, that was real weird.
Yeah, I agree.
But then also, I guess it's not really a...
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. I feel like I'm going to be able to articulate what you're thinking about right now.
Yeah.
I think Donnie Darko is a really, really good movie, both well made and just I like it. Just opinionally, I think objectively it's a good movie and subjectively it's a good movie. I don't think it's really one that you need to watch during Halloween. I think it's just a movie you should watch.
Yeah. So then, by our standards, it's both we agree good movie, but it's a kill.
It's not something you need to watch during Halloween.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's something that requires you to give it your full attention. This can't just be something you put on in the background or that you're going to be casually watching. You have to give it your full attention.
You're going to constantly be like, wait,
and you're
what
gonna
just
be
happened?
Like, you have to think about it.
Yes.
I mean, we even had to look up what it
I
all
looked
meant.
up I'm not even going to go into
no,
an explanation.
I don't want you to.
It
Because
was ridiculous.
As
and
you were
it was
explaining
so
it to me, I was like,
ugh. Yes, it was pretty crazy.
And I care about movies.
I know.
And I cared about this one, but I was like, oh.
Yes.
So yeah, I wrote just what for the ending, because the ending's real weird too.
Yeah, the first thing I wrote was weird.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to give the ending to that one away because I don't want to explain it.
Yeah.
Okay, next up on the list is Fright Night, directed by Craig Gillespie and released in 2011. Mason, what was the story for Fright Night?
When a nice new neighbor moves in next door, Charlie discovers that he is an ancient vampire who preys on the community. Can he save, he being Charlie, that's weirdly written.
Yeah.
Can Charlie save the neighborhood from the creature with the help of the famous vampire killer Peter Vincent?
No, he can't. They all die.
Anyway, next movie. No.
Okay, so this movie, I put this one on the list because this is like a soft spot for me. I watched this movie before I
A soft spot.
I have a soft spot for
I would
this.
assume you mean like a spot like on a banana that's like bad and gross and you don't want it anymore.
Mate, hang on. I watched this movie before I really knew what a good movie was. Before I actually was like, cool, but what, you know what I mean? Because that's how I approach movies now.
Sure.
Is I'm like, I might enjoy it, and sometimes I can suspend this whole idea of was there a quality to it. But this movie is always I always watch this movie and I'm like, no, I had fun with it, even though I know it's not a great movie.
Right.
But so yeah, with that out of the way, so basically it's like this. It's like that summary says. So Charlie, he used to hang out with Evil Ed, is what he's Ed. They call him Evil, and that was his nickname, which is Christopher Mintz
McLovin from Superbad.
Yeah, McLovin. And he, after the third friend of this old nerdy group, goes
the group from Superbad, basically.
Yeah, goes missing. They Evil goes to Charlie and he's like, hey, we need to go check in on him. They go check in and he explains to him that Jerry, his next door neighbor, is a vampire. And then he doesn't believe him. And then Evil gets killed.
They don't really describe or explain why McLovin is so... I refuse to call any of these characters by their names, by the way. Why McLovin is so into vampires or how he's a vampire expert. He just is.
Yeah.
Which is weird to me, but...
Just like, yeah. And so once he gets killed, that kind of propels Charlie into action, I would say.
I didn't like this movie. It's not a...
You didn't?
It's not a good movie.
What?
So...
I was sitting next to you the whole time, and I thought you loved it.
Yeah, okay. So here's the thing. This movie, it's very cliche to the point where I'm pretty sure they're doing it on purpose. Like, it's got all of the horror movie cliches, but it doesn't do anything interesting with these cliches. To me, I kind of likened it to Cabin in the Woods, which is, a movie...
Great.
It's great. It's a great
Love
movie.
it.
All about horror movie cliches, but it's interesting.
But it flips the genre on its head.
And it's well written, and they take these cliches and they do something with them.
Yeah, it's like Scream. Scream came around and it was a cliche of all these slasher movies, but it did something different.
It's playing with
and
them. It's making a
revitalized it.
statement. Fright Night to me,
Yes.
the 2011 version. I guess we didn't mention that.
Yeah, we didn't watch the 1985 one.
The 2011 version. It's not. It doesn't feel like it's saying anything. It's just a movie filled with cliches and pretty bad writing.
Yeah, look, I'm with you on all that.
There's things these characters say that it's just like, Like, I mean, it's like straight out of.
Are you talking about McLovin's quote where he goes, "You're getting soft, Charlie.
Yeah,
Pussy will do that to you." You're talking about that?
Things like that. It's like
That was great.
It sounds.
I thought
like,
it was amazing.
I mean, they honestly say things that like I'm pretty sure I've written in like short films that I, a person who is not a professional screenwriter, have written. Like it's like really bad.
Yes,
dialogue.
I agree.
And I feel like to the point where I
wholeheartedly.
feel like it's on purpose. But because it's not doing it, there's no reason for it. So it's just it makes it bad. Just because you're doing something on purpose doesn't immediately save it from being good.
However, Mason, I agree with you on all of that.
Sure,
I still have fun with it.
Yeah,
but then ultimately, though, right up. I should mention this though. It does have a pretty good Colin Farrell.
Yeah, I mean,
performance.
Colin Farrell.
He's easily he's the greatest part of this movie. Is his character Jerry the Vampire is both a evil douchebag
and a
pedophile, but he's also a charismatic son of a bitch. Let me tell you.
Yes, he is. But
I love his little twitches when when he walks by the light.
He does a lot of like facial acting.
And he like hisses at the light.
Yes,
God, it's fucking great.
It's just he's overacting.
Yes,
but it's fun.
But it works here because.
Works,
it's a movie that's underacted by everyone else in it. Yeah.
I don't know.
David
Tennant's
pretty good too.
I think everyone overacts in it. David Tennant way overacts.
Yeah, but it works.
Arguable. Okay, so yeah, this is one thing that I couldn't stop focusing on is why is Colin Farrell only targeting underage boys and one or two underage girls? His whole point is to turn people into vampires. To sort of make his vampire tribe live longer, but he targets high schoolers. Like, who really wants McLovin the vampire? Like,
Jerry the Vampire.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird. It weirds me out. He just like who wants to hang out with these high schoolers for the rest of their life?
Matthew McConaughey.
That's not
best thing about high school girls.
Yeah, go ahead.
I keep getting older.
Yeah, they stay the same age.
They stay the same age, baby.
But they all stay the same age, literally, in this
because
movie.
You're vampires.
Because they're vampires. Yeah. They don't age. But that was weird to me. I mean, I don't know. It's fine. It was a joke. 40 minutes into this movie, I paused it and saw we still had an hour left, and I was floored. I thought we had been watching that movie for an hour and a half, and it had been 40 minutes.
No.
I was like, dude, the climax has got to be here soon. You got an hour left of this movie. It felt so long to me.
But with that being said, all of that, it's not a good movie. Everything like that being said, I still would agree or would argue that it's a thrill because it's a very simple horror movie at its core. I think this is a perfect movie to put on. You've got your friends over. You want to watch something with jump scares. It's a little cheesy. It's about a classic horror movie creature. You put it on. It's fine.
No, I totally disagree because you can get all those things that you mentioned in several other movies that are way better. Watch one of the Insidious movies. At least you'll feel something in that movies in those movies. This is Fright Night it's rated R, but there's zero reason it should be. It felt like the most PG-13.
The blood.
That was it. Oh yeah, I guess that would make sense. I know
the language.
I don't even remember there being a lot of language. It felt like the most like if this feels like the movie that you put on at a middle school Halloween party because it's really not that scary.
That's all my listeners, man. They're all middle schoolers.
Well, okay, but
Shout out to Chris and the boys. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Stop hanging out with middle schoolers, Jose.
I just go home.
Are you a vampire?
Yeah, I'm Jerry the Vampire. I go home and I only hang out with my little brother and his middle school friends.
And even there.
So guys, what are we doing? They're like, please don't hang out with us. My little brother pulls me aside and he's like, Jose, the boys and I were talking. We don't want you to hang out with us. He pulls
the boys aside and he's like, guys, Jose's back in town.
They're like,
he's gonna hang out with us. Just be cool about it. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Hey, he can drive us places, okay? We'll use him for his car and his money. Other than that,
here's the thing. It's fine. The movie isn't a complete dumpster fire of a movie. It tells a story fine. I just don't like it. If you want a cheesy horror movie, you can do much better.
Okay, so I say it's a thrill. You say it's a kill.
Yeah, it's got some fun moments. Colin Farrell's,
what do we call in between ones?
Well, it just depends on if you think Jose's terrible opinions are right or mine are. I mean, okay, so do you honestly think you can argue with the fact that there are movies that do the same thing as this, only better?
What's another fun vampire movie like this, though?
Well, now you're being awfully specific. You want to know another fun vampire
Yeah.
movie like this? We're going to cover another one in this list.
Okay, but that's a comedy.
This was basically a comedy.
Nah.
Remember when the mom and girlfriend run away and Colin Farrell's like, see you later? That was a pure comedy.
That was funny.
That
That
was
was-
a pure
that was
comedic
actually funny,
bit
though.
played in the middle of like a tense scene,
Yeah.
which is fine. It wasn't not funny. I'm just saying that if you want
Maybe
this
I'm
type
just
of movie,
biased.
watch Scream.
Maybe I'm just biased. No, Scream's in a whole different category than this.
How?
What do you mean? Scream is a slasher movie.
Sure, but this is basically a slasher
No,
movie.
it's not a slasher. He's not a.
Just because he's not a knife-wielding
There's
psychopath
rules, man.
doesn't
There's
mean
rules.
it's not. No,
Look,
you're wrong.
It's a thrill for me. It's a kill for you. Let's just say
It's
that.
a kill.
Okay.
Don't
It's a
watch
thrill.
it. Find a better one.
It's a. We'll call this the. I don't know.
Just don't watch it. Our next movie on the list is
It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, directed by Bill Melendez and released in 1966. Mason, what's the story for The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown? It's The Great
Peanuts-
Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. The Peanuts gang are back.
Did you need to say that one more time?
The movie is called It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown, look, it's the Great Pumpkin. It's us, the Peanuts gang. We're back. Here we go, baby.
Okay.
What's the story for it?
The Peanuts gang celebrates Halloween while Linus waits for the Great Pumpkin. This is to be clear, this is a TV short. It's not a full movie.
I was under the impression that it was a full movie, and then we watched
There
it, and I was
might
like,
be-
"Oh God, did it just end?"
I'm not entirely convinced that there's not a
No, I don't think
full
there is a full
movie
one.
version of it
Because
because I,
I
feel like I
feel
remember
like
seeing one. But
I remember watching this in class and it being short.
I think there is because I remember seeing the Great Pumpkin in something, but everyone tells me I'm crazy, so it might just be a Mandela effect thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It definitely takes me back to like my elementary school days when, for whatever reason, my teacher would just be like, "We're watching a Peanuts movie tonight." I'd be like, "What?
Yeah.
Why aren't you going to teach class?" But it's fine. I was one of those kids.
Because teacher's drunk and hungover, and she doesn't want to teach class this morning.
She did come in with sunglasses and
Okay, well, sunglasses doesn't mean someone's hungover.
but the sunglasses said I'm on one eye and then the other eye said hungover. Huh, I wonder what that meant.
Okay, you know what? We're gonna move on.
Mrs. Shumway was drunk a lot. Let's just say that.
Mrs. Shumway, more like Mrs. Drunkway,
Drunkway.
am I right?
Got him. That was a high five.
They heard.
Yeah, it takes me back.
The writing is phenomenal.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
The writing is so funny.
I love that
It's-
classic theme. But what were you saying?
The writing is so funny. It's like a dry wit. It's like the scene where the classic sorry. I'm struggling here.
He's having a stroke.
Where Lucy's, trying to make Charlie Brown kick the football.
Yes.
And he's like, "No, you're just gonna pull it out." And she's like, "No, look, I have a signed document that says I won't."
Yeah.
And then so he's like,
Oh, she has a signed document.
All right, I'm really gonna kick the football. And then she pulls it up and he falls. And she goes, "Funny thing about documents, that one's not notarized," or something like that. It's like, what? That is
Again,
really funny.
I miss stuff like that.
And what toddlers in the '60s were like?
That's
a
how
good
toddlers
joke.
were in the 60s. They had little business suits and they would be, yes.
It's so funny, Charlie Brown.
Jerry, I have to tell you, I saw your film. It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and I got to say, I really loved it. Well, thank you, Tiny Tim.
There's the joke about like how all these the new generations are always are all depressed and mentally ill. But I mean, Charlie Brown, he's a millennial, right?
Oh.
Charlie Brown's always running around
yeah.
just like, I have no friends and nobody likes me.
I love the scene where they go trick-or-treating and they're all like, I got this. I got a chocolate bar.
I got an apple.
I got a rock. And then every house, I got popcorn. I got pretzels. I got a rock.
Yes, it's so good. He like has all the holes cut out of his.
Yeah. When he puts they go as ghosts and he has a bunch of holes cut in his sheet.
Because he messed up the eyes a bunch. And then Jose cleverly said it's the Holy Ghost.
It's the Holy Ghost.
Which is
He's the Holy
hilarious,
Ghost, yeah.
I don't really have a whole lot to say
It's
about
weird
this.
pacing though, for sure, on this movie.
Well, yes, that's true.
But I think it's
they
also-
have
it was
a B plot where Snoopy as the World War I flying ace gets downed by the Redhead Baron in French countryside behind enemy lines.
Yeah.
And I'm not making any of this up. This is all directly told to the audience.
Yes.
He's downed in the French countryside behind enemy lines and has to sneak his way back home.
And he most likely has PTSD after that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a tragic part of the Peanuts that was never mentioned. Snoopy struggled with it a lot.
Snoopy left the Great War, but the Great War never left Snoopy. No Woodstock in this one.
Yeah, no Woodstock. I was a little
lame.
disappointed. There's weird pacing in it, but I also think that's just a product of its time. That's a lot. How like you look at old Tom and Jerry cartoons, and they were kind of a little.
There's not a lot about the Great Pumpkin.
No.
It's basically just every once in a while,
Linus
like 3
saying,
times they cut to Linus and Lucy in the pumpkin patch.
And then Linus continuously is like, well, the Great Pumpkin's this, and then everybody's like, you're stupid, Linus. And then he's like, well.
And then he falls asleep, and then Lucy puts a blanket on him and takes him to bed.
Yeah.
Which I guess the moral of the story is believe in whatever you want.
Look, I was a little disappointed. They got me all hot and bothered for the Great Pumpkin, and then it never showed up.
Distinctly remember.
No, I know you do.
A version of the movie where the Great Pumpkin shows up and talks to him.
I don't remember that at all.
But I might be wrong.
I think you definitely are. I don't know. I just said my final thoughts on it were that it's an alright movie, and I'm sure if I was a kid, I'd really like it. But I think at this point, it's probably just something I'd put in the background of a family party and be like, hey, watch this.
Yes, I was going to say the same thing. If you're having a Halloween party, not even if it's a family, I think if you're... you're too young...
I'm going to show this to my siblings. I'm intrigued as to what they'll think of it.
Idea. I'm going to show it to mine, but he's 23, so...
So yeah, get back to me.
24 now, I don't know.
Get back to me and tell me what he thinks. I loved it, brother. I loved it, widow brother.
Okay, it got weird.
That did get weird. I don't want to insinuate that your brother's...
Austin's going to listen to this.
Thank you, Austin, for subscribing to the podcast.
Donate on Patreon.
Donate on patreon.com.
So I said nostalgia-wise, it's great.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely.
And I said, yes, it's perfect. If you're having a Halloween party, I don't even care what age you are. If you're having a Halloween party, just throw it on the TV.
It's a classic. Someone is, even if you've never seen any of the Peanuts movies, you know who they are. Because
the pacing issues don't exist when you're just tuning in and out of it.
Exactly.
And so it's totally great to put on. The humor is dry and witty. There's that amazing opening scene where Lucy and Charlie Brown go grab the pumpkins, and then they like bring them inside, and then Charlie Brown grabs a knife and stabs it into the pumpkin to start carving it, and Lucy just goes, "You didn't tell me you were gonna kill it."
Or when they're like, "Hey, Charlie Brown, can you be our model for us?" And he's like, "A model? I've never modeled for anything." Yes. And then they just use his big round head.
That's a model. You had to carve a pumpkin to draw
to practice the drawing they're gonna use on the pumpkin.
It's so funny.
Charlie Brown is just. Yeah, like you said, great. He's a millennial. He's just all of us.
Yeah. I told you there's a great part in the most recent movie or whatever where he's just like, what about you, Charlie Brown? And he's just like, I don't have any friends and no one likes me. It's like, yeah, I got that. I felt it.
Felt it in my heart. Okay, next up we have...
It's a kill. Or no, it's a thrill.
It's a thrill, it's a thrill.
It's a thrill.
Absolutely. Next up on the list is What We Do in the Shadows, directed by Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement and released in 2014. I love this movie. I love this movie. Pretty decent show came out of it.
So Vigo, Deacon, and Vladislav are vampires who are finding the modern life has them struggling with the mundane, like paying rent, keeping up the chore wheel, and trying to get into nightclubs, and overcoming flatmate conflicts.
Yes, so
also, I'm going to add a little caveat. It was directed by Taika Waititi, but it was also co-directed by Jermaine Clement.
That's what I said, yeah.
Moving on.
Okay, so basically it's 4 with I forget the monster one. What's his name?
Oh, Peter.
Peter?
It's Peter.
Peter, yeah. So it's four vampires living in New Zealand.
Yes.
In a flat in New Zealand, an apartment in New Zealand.
Yeah, for you Americans.
For you
Uncultured.
God.
I mean, we're Americans.
Don't even get me started.
So don't get started on the Americans.
It's so good.
It's amazing.
It's a mockumentary. Yep. Supposedly it's the New Zealand Documentary Board following them around.
Yeah.
They've been specially invited to take a look at these vampires' lives in preparation for the what is the ball called?
It's like
again?
A vampire ball. I don't remember what exactly it was called.
But it's in preparation for this, and so they go to record them throughout their daily lives. and you just get to see the life of a vampire in this. But it's just so good. It's all over the place because there is a main storyline. But
it's
you,
them
but
preparing
you get,
for the
but,
ball.
yeah,
but
but you see snippets of their day-to-day
yes.
life, which is really good.
Them preparing for the ball. There's a new vampire who's like who's like an actual like 20-year-old who becomes a vampire and joins them. And then there's the main star, their friend Stu.
Yes, Stu.
Stu.
God, I love Stu.
The
opening is great. It features the song "You're Dead," which is
by Norma Tannegue.
Something like that. Yeah, it's real good. I love one of my favorite lines from this is it's what's the other not Vlad, not Taika's character, but what's the other guy's name? Deacon. He's like sitting down doing an interview, and he's like, "Yeah, I was a Nazi vampire. I was a vampire for the Nazis. But when the Nazis lost the war, I don't know if you know this, but they lost the war. If you were a Nazi, if you were a vampire, if you were a Nazi vampire, so I had to get out of there." It's just
I think my favorite is when they're doing the chore wheel and they're like, "You haven't done the dishes in 12 years." And Deacon goes, "We're vampires. We don't do dishes." Or no, it's vampires don't do dishes.
When he does the erotic dance for them.
Yeah.
And then the new vampire interrupts him, and he's like, "I was doing erotic dance for my friends. You interrupted." Yeah. Or when Vlad's like, "This is my dungeon. I haven't used it in a long time."
Yeah. It's a phenomenal movie.
I was Vlad the Poker, they called me. Because I used to poke people. It's good.
It's a good
movie. They take elements of these legends,
the humor,
and then they build a pretty good universe within it.
It's amazing humor. It's just so perfect. Every little bit about it. I don't want to spoil all of it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. It's a movie that you should watch anytime.
Any time of the year. I watched this like
Christmas,
in September.
Watch it.
Yeah.
The only Thanksgiving movie. Well, that and the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special.
Yeah. Does it take place around Thanksgiving?
No, you should watch it for Thanksgiving. Watch it for Easter.
Watch it in preparation for the vampire ball.
Yes. Ramadan.
Kwanzaa?
Yeah.
Good Kwanzaa movie, I think.
Yeah. Not Memorial Day.
No, God, no. Of
It's
course
a terrible movie.
No, yeah.
No, it's just really good. It's definitely worth watching.
Great performances all around.
It's Halloween-y.
It's a fun one.
Vampire movie that's good.
Yeah.
As opposed to like a garbage movie that we watched for this.
Friday Night and What We Do in the Shadows, right out there, right next to each other, I think.
Nah,
I'm just kidding. I wouldn't say that.
Well, you're right as far as like if it's a list about vampire movies. Not about good or bad ones, just about.
But yeah, if you're looking for a fun vampire movie, definitely check.
If you're looking for a terrible vampire movie, watch Fright Night from 2011.
It's a thrill for me, buddy. Old pal.
You're dumb. I'm gonna fight you after the podcast.
What are we doing?
I'm gonna fight you.
You can try.
I'm gonna succeed. Okay, I'm gonna shove your face through a window.
Anyway, so yeah, it's a thrill for me.
It's an absolute thrill. Yeah. It's a good Halloween movie, but it's just a good movie to watch all around too.
Yeah.
So.
Next up, we have Horns, directed by Alexander Aja. It might be Aja because it's with a J, so it might be
Alexandre.
But I'm assuming if his name is Alexandre, it's probably Aja is how you say the
because there's a J in it. Yeah.
Alexandre Aja, released in 2014, same year as What We Do in the Shadows.
In the aftermath of his girlfriend's mysterious death, a young man awakens to find strange horns sprouting from his forehead. So I only watched this movie like one time, and I don't really remember a lot about it.
We planned to watch it, but we didn't have the time for this.
Yes. However, I read the book, which was written by Joe Hill, who is Stephen King's son. The book is phenomenal.
I love this movie.
I'm not saying the movie's bad. I'm not one of those like, oh, you like the movie, dummy? There's a book about it.
Stupid son of a bitch! Yes. How dare you?
Yeah, I'll kill you.
I'll fucking kill you and your family.
I will kill you though. But it's good. It's a very unique story.
It's interesting because
it's a concept that I've never really seen done before.
What the summary doesn't say is that the horns also have an
unusual
effect on the people around him. So it's almost like their inhibitions or
their darkest desires
come forward.
Right. So he like goes to a doctor and he's like, "Can you remove these horns?" And he's like, I'll tell you what I really want to do is
It's
like
have
snort
sex
a bunch of Oxycontin and have sex with the nurse.
The nurse, yeah.
Yeah, who's not his wife.
So I don't know why. Wait, men have sex with people who aren't their wives?
Not good ones.
I thought you could only have sex when you get married.
What are you doing? This is a weird bit.
I was paid by Kanye to tell people not to have premarital sex.
Hot takes
Hot
from
take.
you.
I am on one today.
You leave Jesus alone.
I'm the anti.
You know, it is weird.
I'm the anti-Jesus.
It's weird for someone who called himself Jesus to suddenly take a turn to such a hard religious
I'm
philosophy.
scared that at one point he's just gonna come out and be like, "I'm the new Messiah."
I am God. I'd join Kanye's cult though.
Oh, I would too. I think it's fun.
Yeah,
I think it would be fun.
He'd
Yeah.
have a fun cult until it like got bad,
But in those years before it did,
I'd get
God,
myself
you would
up
be
there.
riding high.
Be Jesus' right hand man, little Jesus.
Be like Gabriel, the Archangel Gabriel, but what's like a
Yeah.
cool version of that name?
The
Archangel Gabriel.
Ooh, that was pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, that actually was pretty
Yeah,
good.
it was the Archangel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Well, we'll keep that in mind. I'm gonna write that down for my cult ideas.
Yeah, it's good. Daniel Radcliffe was pretty good in this. Really good performance.
Pretty great in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a really good
Pretty good.
performance.
I forget the other guy's name. Who's the other guy? The friend.
The brother or the friend?
The friend.
The friend is the actor's name or
the actor's name.
The actor's name is Max Minghella.
I swear I've seen him in other things. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, he was pretty good. I don't want to spoil the story either.
Yeah, I don't want. I really. This is one where I'm like, you got to go. Because I remember
Max Minghella was in The Social Network. That's probably where. Yeah,
yes. I don't want to say too much about this one because it's one where I'm like, you got to go see it for yourself.
There's a lot of the story is very complex, but yeah. So his wife was murdered. He's tried, and everyone thinks that he murdered his wife.
Is it his wife or his girlfriend?
Girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yes. Whatever, but he didn't murder it. He has an amazing name, which is Ig Parish.
Yes.
Which I think is just a cool name.
Parish is that's what you call like a Catholic gathering, like a Catholic congregation. Sorry.
Oh, I thought you meant like a group of ferrets is called an office.
Wow.
And
anyway, it's I remember when I watched this for the first time, I was just like I was intrigued by the entire story and it grabbed me. Like there wasn't a moment throughout the movie where I was like, I'm on my phone or whatever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it was definitely like one where I was like, oh wow, like I want to know what's happening.
Yeah.
I thought it was well written. I thought it was well directed. It has been a while since I've seen it, but off the top of my mind, I remember liking this movie a lot.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's a really good movie. I mean, it's not.
There are certain. I mean, the whole.
It doesn't train. I think
premise is supernatural.
The book gives a lot more in-depth detail, which I think really helps it.
He does become the. Never mind. Maybe that's a spoiler. I won't say it.
It's really neat. He controls like snakes and stuff.
Yes.
It's again. I don't know if it's the best Halloween movie.
Yeah, you're right. I don't think that it's necessarily
themed.
Yes. I think this isn't. I don't think this is one you sit down with all of your buddies and you watch.
Yeah, it's not
unless you and your buddies are like deep cut guys like us, like really like intellectual.
We're the deep cut boys.
That's what they call really. Yeah, they call. Every time they're like, "Hey, we need a deep cut."
We just
they call
appear.
us. Yeah.
We just manifest behind a couch or something.
Like
hey,
this.
Did you guys call us? What's up?
Hey, it's up.
Horns?
Have you guys seen Horns yet? Oh no, what's it about? Well, it's kind of like this guy gets framed for the murder of his.
My favorite Beck album is One Foot in the Grave.
Did you guys know that John Carpenter also wrote the score for Halloween? Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Did you know he didn't write the score for The Thing?
Oh no, I didn't. Thanks, deep cut boys. Yeah, sure
hey,
thing.
No problem. Hey, look over there. And they look, and then we just walk out.
Yeah, because we can't poof out.
Disappear. Yeah,
we can only poof in.
Which is rough when it's far away from where
it's like we were making the joke of, was it with you that I was like, you say Michael Keaton's name enough, like Beetlejuice.
Yes, and
it was with you. Yeah, he appears, and then he would have to fly home.
If you say Beetlejuice 3 times, Michael Keaton will appear,
and he's real upset.
Beetlejuice, and he's just like,
you guys got to stop.
Guys, seriously.
Do you know how hard this? He's in a towel. He was just
taking a shower.
Yeah,
he's got a toothbrush in his mouth. You guys know how many times?
Damn it!
How many times a goddamn month? You fuckheads.
Because one of you fucking idiots is like, oh, I'm gonna make a little joke. I'm gonna say Beetlejuice 3 times, and then I'm in the middle of doing something, and poof, here I am.
And we better move on because if we say it one more time, Michael Keaton's a guest on the podcast.
Yeah, you're right. If we say Beetlejuice, oh my God, Michael Keaton.
Oh, he left.
He just walked out because we did call him here a couple of weeks ago, and he was real pissed about that. Yeah, I don't know. So then ultimately, what do you think? Thrill or kill?
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
It's
see,
really
I don't
rough.
know.
It's a really good
I
movie.
want
but
people to watch this,
It's
but at the same time,
If
based
you-
on this criteria,
if you are doing like a watching a movie for Halloween, like one movie every day for the
yes,
month of October,
then definitely.
put it on your list. If you're just doing like a movie night for like 3 or 4 movies,
Yes.
I would leave it off.
So it's a soft thrill then, would you say?
It's a soft thrill.
Yeah, okay. Next up on the list is Coraline, directed by Henry Selick and released in 2009.
Yeah.
What is the story of Coraline, I wonder, Mason?
Well, an adventurous 11-year-old girl finds another world that is strangely idealized version of her frustrating home, but it has sinister secrets.
Oh, no. For the longest time, I thought this was a Tim
yes.
Burton movie before I'd seen it.
Yeah,
Because it just felt like something he would have
I
done.
think it would be.
Yeah, but it's
He's
not.
not. I don't know. I don't even think.
I don't think
did
he was.
produce it?
I don't think he had anything to do with it.
Really?
I don't know. You check.
Okay.
Don't you have it pulled up?
Yeah, I don't think IMDb tells you
Yeah, it does.
producers though.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, you go to cast and crew. You stupid idiot! You're not even a real deep cut boy.
I am a deep cut. It was not produced by him.
Yeah. So I'd only
So you would only.
I watched this movie for the first time this year.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen it before.
Which is interesting.
So I watched it about maybe like a couple of weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago. I like it a lot.
It's
I'm
really
not gonna
good.
lie to you. I think it's really fun. I like the animation style. Is it claymation? Because it's like a weird claymation
It's
animation.
probably around there. I
Yeah.
mean, it was 2009, so it's not like they had a great
Right.
CGI, I guess. Then.
But I like it a lot. I do like. I don't know. It's just it's a weird, fun little thing. And I know my siblings liked it a lot too. My family, we all watched it, and they, for the most part, all of them liked it. Yeah. So basically, yeah, she finds this little doll that looks just like her.
It's got button eyes.
It's got button eyes, and her and her parents move into these like weird apartments.
Yeah.
And she meets this kid, Wyborn, which
Great
I love
name.
is great. Yeah, I love his name.
I love his
There's
great.
I love his great. There's one point where she says to him, "Why were you born?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you had that coming with a name like Wyborn." So she finds this doll, and then she also finds a little door hidden behind the wallpaper in her home. And at first, it's just a brick wall, but then she's awoken one of the nights by a little mouse.
The cat.
No,
Is the,
it's the mouse.
oh no, the cat
'Cause
can
the-
go back and forth
yes.
through it. Yep.
But there's like one of her neighbors is like training mice to put on a circus show or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real interesting cast of people living in these
Mhm.
apartments.
Danny DeVito's one of them, right?
I think he's the guy training the mouse.
No, I mean like Danny DeVito.
Oh.
He's just a guy in the movie. He's just like, hey,
Yeah, he lives there.
and then he
Hey,
walks
it's me,
out,
Danny DeVito. He says
and then he leaves
to Coraline, and then he's gone for the rest of the
Yep,
movie.
never see him again.
But so the mouse takes her to it, and then now there's a portal, and she goes to this world where she has her other parents, both with button eyes, but they're way better than her real parents. They like actually care about her, and they cook good food, and like they
Yeah.
just pay attention to her. And I get why her parents are the way her real parents are the way they are with her, because they're
Right.
adults trying to live a life and pay bills and stuff. But yeah, they're kind of assholes to her a little bit. Yeah,
It's hard. It's hard out there.
it is. But and then, she starts going back and forth between that world, and then her other mother starts to get real weird, insisting that she has to have her eyes replaced with buttons, and she can stay there with them forever.
Also, she's a
to be
spider?
happy. Yes, because she's they give her a name. I think she's like it's like some folklore thing. I forgot the name that they call her.
Coraline.
Yeah, Edgar Wright directed this as well. I love that bit from Scott.
They just
Pilgrim,
call
by
her
the way.
other mother.
Yeah.
Or is it Bedlam?
Yes, she's a Bedlam, right? I'm sure that's
Beldam, not Bedlam, Beldam.
Beldam, yeah. But anyway, so then she goes bad, and then she gets trapped in the world, but then she escapes, and then she takes her parents, and then she's got to go rescue them or something.
Yeah. Okay, here's my hot
Anyway,
take.
that was just me filling time. But anyway,
Here's
what's-
my hot take.
What's your hot take?
This movie is
Oh, here we go.
overrated. I don't think it's a bad movie, but I kind of have a feeling that all of these
That
Tim
you hate
Burton-esque-
little kids and you don't want them to enjoy movies.
Yes.
Okay.
I have
Fair
this
enough.
feeling that these Tim Burton-esque claymation-y Halloween-y movies, I feel like as soon as everyone sees them, they're all like It's a great movie.
Yeah,
it's really
maybe
good.
you're right.
Like every one of them, like Corpse Bride, Coraline, The Nightmare Before Christmas, and I like the movies. I just feel like everyone thinks they're really, really good, and I just think they're all right.
I don't think that's phenomenal. I liked it. I thought it was good. Maybe I expected it to be a lot worse, and that's why.
Just because you have a creative art style doesn't immediately make everything great. And just because a little girl gets lost, or a man goes into hell, or a man from hell goes into Christmas World, it fell apart there.
Man, you lost me there.
Just because
all of that sounds like great storytelling.
Okay, but here's the thing: these are all. I mean, you look at them; they're all so formulaic. Literally, person in world that he's not fully enjoying gets sent back into this other crazy world where he's not familiar with, it's very similar to their own world, only everything's a little different, whether everybody's all dead, or it's the other mother, or it's just mother, or you're from Halloween Town and now you're in the real world. And it's like they realize that all these things that they did in the real world don't work there. Now, here's the main difference between Coraline and the actual Tim Burton ones, because Corpse Bride is Tim Burton, right?
I think so. Yes, because it's Johnny Depp,
yes.
right?
Yeah, it is. I don't just because everything Johnny Depp does.
Any weird gothic thing that Johnny Depp has done has been with Tim Burton. Edward Scissorhands, Sweeney Todd, Sleepy Hollow.
You don't even know, do you?
Sleepy Hollow was Tim Burton, right?
We're getting from our producer.
Our producer Cheyenne
saying that we are correct.
Yes, we are correct.
Okay, fine. I get your point. But what I'm saying is the only difference is in Coraline is it turns out the other world isn't a good place. Where in Corpse Bride and Nightmare Before Christmas it is, like, the real world, and the hell is full of good people basically. But they're overdone. I've seen them too many times. Coraline's fine, but I'm not gonna say you should have to watch it. I'm not gonna put it.
So
I don't
it's
think
a kill for you.
I guess it's fine if you are. If it comes up, if someone's like, "Hey, let's watch this movie," like, go ahead, I guess. But I don't think you should ever. This isn't a movie that I feel like you really need to seek out to watch.
Damn. See, that's where we're gonna come at a middle one again, and I'm gonna have to say I think it's a thrill, because I think
that's fair.
I think it's different enough from. I haven't seen Corpse Bride or Nightmare Before Christmas, but out of those three, I had the choice to watch, and Coraline just was the one that I was more intrigued by.
Really, I think Corpse Bride is a little more Halloween themed.
Maybe I'll have to check it out. But I think if you're having a party with friends, you're having a movie night, and you want to watch something animated or something like that, I say put this on, and it's fun.
I guess if you really want an animated movie, this one could work. I don't hate it. Like,
it is kind of
Fright
slow
Nights.
at some points.
It's not even there's nothing inherently wrong with the movie. I just don't feel like it's as special as everyone gives it.
You know what? Maybe I am changing my mind on this.
Yeah, I'm very persuasive.
No, because I
have
watched
a knife to your throat right now.
Yeah.
Say it's good.
It's really good. I love it. It's bad. It's bad. And it's a thrill. It's a kill. It's a kill so bad. Please let me go.
It's good.
Yeah. No. I watched it like 3 times the week that I was home.
Yeah.
Too
many times.
And I liked it. I liked it all the times. But now I'm thinking back, and I'm like, I remember each time I watched it, and it got to the middle part, I was like, ugh. This is like a second time. I was like, okay, this middle part. Yeah. So you're right. I think it's a kill. There's better options. Watch It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Watch Monster House. Watch other things.
I do like Monster House.
We talked about it last year. It was a
shout out to Dan Harmon.
Oh yeah, he wrote the story for that. Yeah.
I love Dan Harmon.
Okay, so it's a kill from both of us.
Thrill. Dan Harmon's a thrill.
Dan Harmon
Coraline's
is
a kill, but Dan Harmon, he's a thrill.
It's a cool name though, Coraline. I like it because it's not Caroline.
Well, I mean, those guys wrote that song about it.
What guys?
Sweet Coraline.
You stupid idiot. Neil Diamond.
I think you're thinking of Lou Diamond Phillips.
No, Neil Diamond.
Chavez from Young Guns.
Yes, that's
Lou
what I'm
Diamond
thinking
Phillips.
of. Yes. Okay, so next up on the list is the final movie, The Witch, or The Witch. Directed by Robert Eggers, and it was released in 2015. What is the story of this movie?
Well, first
Mason,
off, I'm going to say that I just realized while we were getting ready to do this podcast that the full name of The Witch is The Witch, A New England Folktale.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Also, though, on the original title, it is spelled The Vavitch.
Yes.
It's 2 capital V's. It's weird.
So I after I watched this, I remember looking at the trivia for that. The reason was, they didn't have the W at the time that this is set.
Oh.
So Eggers,
Eggers, yeah.
Purposefully
Robert
had them.
Eggers, right? Sorry.
He purposefully had it be two V's because at the time that this is set, which is what is it, like 1600s, 1500s,
1630s.
Yeah, so they didn't have the W yet. So they did used to use two
But
V's.
they used two V's to make a
to
W
make a W,
sound?
but they wasn't a letter yet. Which is stupid.
Yeah, that's
it's
weird.
so
Who's
dumb.
like,
That's pilgrims for you, man. They were a bunch of idiots. Oh, we're gonna go to the New World without any idea of how to survive, and we're gonna
so
set
is
up
it
shop
just
in the
because
wilderness.
V
These
is the
stupid
letter
idiots.
before W in the alphabet?
I don't know.
Hey,
Well, I think it's because
Hey, I got a great idea. I was just thinking. You know how we always have trouble spelling that one letter? Well, what if we
Sorry,
just put
real quick. That's my impression of a pilgrim who's been kicked by a horse. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I thought that was Schwarzenegger.
No, this is Schwarzenegger.
What if we put? What if we just take two V's and put them together? But okay. Is there someone else I could talk to? Okay.
Hey, sorry, I was just walking by. This guy told me to come in. What's going on?
What if we put two V's together? To
Holy
make a W?
shit, man! You're onto something right now. Did you
know,
say
right?
two V's?
Two V's because it's.
What for? I mean, I'm all for this, but why?
Because to make the new letter that we always have trouble that we can pronounce. But
Oh my
can't
god, you're
spell.
talking about how like sometimes we say we, for example.
Yes.
Oh my
Correct.
god.
And do you know why V though?
Why?
Because it's the letter. It's the letter we have.
Okay.
And so this letter,
We should go-
what I call double V, will go right next to single V.
Double V, single V. I like it. You're onto something, kid.
Yes.
What's your name?
Thomas Edison.
Wow. He would take credit for that. He would take credit for that. Took credit for everything else.
I wish you hadn't asked my name. I didn't have a good.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna. I don't know.
I didn't have a good.
You could have
one.
said William Penn, and then you could have been like,
And then I'm gonna go debate some
Yes,
people
that's what I
over
was just gonna say.
Quakerism.
after what's your name? William Penn. Wow. Well,
Hey, what
William,
What
son.
religion are you?
what? What's
What
going on
religion
here?
Are you?
I
What
don't
religion
know.
are you, stupid asshole?
Because if you don't believe in Quakerism, then you're a stupid son of a bitch. Let me
Dumb
tell you right now,
bitch.
you're going to hell, you stupid idiot.
Yeah, so we found out
We found out that,
college for William Penn, going to a college called William Penn, that apparently William Penn would just
Go around and
challenge
debate.
people to
Yeah.
religious debates
Like,
on the street.
The way that the speaker made it sound was, yeah, just like that. He would be walking down the street and see somebody and be like, "You there? Tell me why you love God as much as me." And then you'd be like, "What?"
But you're wrong. First off, let me tell you, we shouldn't fight. We should be pacifist, you dumb bitch. And second off, your religion is dumb and for stinky people. Anyway,
Oh, I'm shaking now. That's quaking.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. If there are any Quakers listening to this show, if you guys still exist, I'm real sorry about that.
I'm not.
But I'm not at the same time.
Hot take.
Hot
Quakerism
take.
is dumb.
There
I
is
don't
one
care.
Quaker in this that I know for sure that he's the blacksmith guy that works at Penn sometimes. He runs like the ministry or whatever.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. You don't go.
This is a weird.
You're not on campus enough to know. It
This
doesn't
is
matter.
a weird thing for a movie podcast.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
Anyway,
Okay.
A family in the 1630s A family in 1630s New England is torn apart by the forces of witchcraft, black magic, and possession.
Yeah, I watched this movie for the first time a couple weeks ago.
It came out in 2015. So
Yeah.
you're a little late to the party. You're a
Yes,
little
I
tardy
know,
to this
I know.
party.
But I only watched it because I want to go see The Lighthouse, and I was like, I gotta see this guy's previous work.
Don't even get me started on the lighthouse.
What?
Don't even get me started on the lighthouse.
What?
Are you hiding something from me? Do
What?
you have a secret?
What?
Why don't you spill your beans?
No, this movie's good.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Hot take.
Keep pushing this back. Hot take.
Hot
This
take.
movie's good.
This movie's good.
It's what I liked about it was it's very much a slow burn.
Yeah.
But then also it's not, because I think there's enough happening throughout. God, what am I trying to say? Throughout the entire movie, that it all fits with the overarching story. Do you know what I mean? Because this isn't like one of those movies. Towards the end, there's big things that happen, but it's not like other horror movies where it's these big chunks of action happening.
Yep.
It has a little spooky thing here, spooky
a
thing
little
here,
nugget, a little
spooky thing
nugget of
here.
scary. Yeah.
So it's but yes, it is a slow burn, and its horror comes less from jump scares and and more
creeping
from
uneasiness.
creeping
It
uneasiness.
reminds me a bit of The Shining in
Yes,
that way.
I haven't seen it, but yes, I agree with you that it's the wilderness, the setting, the music cues, the interactions between the characters,
Just
all
the
of it.
atmosphere.
Yeah, just the atmosphere.
They
I
lived
watched
in
this alone at like 2 or 3 in the morning because
Uh-huh.
it was super late when I was watching it, and I was like, my feet were hanging over the edge of my bed, and I was like, I better put these up.
The witch he would just like tickled your feet a little bit, and like whispered something in your ear. And
She would have turned into like Drew Barrymore or something for me, and made me kiss her. And then I would have opened my eyes.
It seems like this is getting weird.
Then I would have opened my eyes, and then she would have been in my bedroom, nude.
Yeah,
This got weird.
No, because she's a witch.
Because she's a witch.
This is like real paganism.
Oh my gosh.
Witches.
Right? Yes. That's the other thing I really liked is the depiction of the witch was very
of witchcraft in here is like super like dancing naked around a fire and like
yes.
It's just it's
very
really,
Crucible. You ever seen the Crucible?
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
which is
very Crucible. Yes.
right away when she kills the baby.
Yeah. Oh, sad.
Oh boy, that was tough.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even see a lot. You see her go to put the knife up against it, and then you see her mushing the baby's.
Yeah, and you just infer that's baby mush. Not like baby mush, like mushed carrots, but
like a mushed baby.
Like a mushed baby.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
But it's so good. All the performances all around are so fucking good. Everyone.
The girl that plays Thomason is amazing. I think a lot of it goes to Eggers. I think he's a really, really good director.
Yes, he did I was going to say the cinematography and just the whole direction of it is one of the biggest things that leads to the uneasiness.
It doesn't because it's not one of those horror movies where it's trying to hide the creature from you.
Yes,
but it's also not like trying to make you stare at it. It's just like it shows it just when you need to see it, and that's like it.
And it's also, you can correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I also think it's not really about the witch so much more as it is about how the family is reacting to the witch's actions. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, obviously,
like think about like I don't know your Friday the 13th or your Nightmare on Elm Street. Those are very much about the actions of the killer, but it's also about the killer.
The father of the family in The Witch is almost as much of an antagonist as the witch is, because if people they start getting kind of driven crazy, they start kind of going against each other. Also, a lot like The Shining, where the father, to the point is he locks all of the remaining children up in a pen with this black sheep or goat.
What do they call him? What's his name? Black
Phillip.
Black Phillip.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is the devil.
Yes.
Which is cool. It's really punk rock.
I like when he becomes a man.
Yeah. It's punk rock.
Yeah.
But it's not, the witch isn't necessarily outright antagonizing the family as much as she's just creating such a paranoia within the family
that they all division.
It's literally a microcosm of the Salem witch trials,
yes,
where everyone starts accusing each other of
but
being
within
a
witch. Family, yes,
within one single family.
It's a lot of like people. Cabin fever kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know, it's just good. I really really like this one.
The family they're living in this big colony. And they get kicked out for basically practicing religion incorrectly.
I was gonna say, what did they get kicked out for?
So they don't ever. I don't know if they ever actually say, but in the beginnings they say something like, the father of the family is like, we do not adhere to any laws but those of God. And then the board of pilgrims are like, well, you've broken the laws of the Commonwealth.
Because there's the one pilgrim who got kicked in the head by a horse.
Yeah. Okay. He can go. Could you go sit? Hey. Go. Why don't you go sit? Why don't you let me take this one? Why don't you let me take this one? You go sit in the corner.
I'm so sorry. My brother got out.
Hey, okay, that's fine. Hey, anyway, you've broken the law of the Commonwealth.
Oh shit! That's what I walked into. Fuck! I was not ready for this.
Okay, you're being just as disruptive as your brother.
I'm so sorry.
Anyway, you've disrupted the law of the common.
Shit! They're gonna kick these fuckers out. Oh my god! Remember how he was like?
Get him.
He was like,
get
I'm
him.
never gonna.
Get those,
what the fuck?
Guys.
Oh, guys,
you're next. Anyway, so they accuse him of breaking the laws of the Commonwealth. It sounds like they're practicing religion too hard, is the way I interpret it. You know what I mean?
They're too hardcore for the fucking pilgrims.
Kind of. Well, yeah, it really, like the Puritans, it really does kind of seem like that they're like...
Some fucking prudes.
They're not...
Those guys.
They're not, like, following the laws of the colony.
And more so they're being, like...
too adherent to the Bible, almost, is the way I understand it. So they go out and they start their own farm out in the middle of the woods, and there's a witch.
Yeah.
There's a coven of witches, actually.
Yeah.
But it's mainly just the one they have to fight. They don't really fight it.
but they just get fucked over by her.
Yeah, it's not good.
So I don't know. So then, what would you say then? Would you say, because I think we both agree it's a great movie.
Yes.
Would you say it's?
I think this is
it's
a hard
thrill.
thrill.
It's a
I don't
hard thrill.
have any issues with it. It's perfectly Halloween.
For the casual movie person, for the casual movie watcher, this is not going to be your.
It's not a popcorn movie.
Yes, it's not.
There's popcorn.
This is a psychological
fucking.
fucking experience.
But this is just your, you got your Insidious.
You want to get real fucking creeped out. Watch
Insidious
this.
and Annabelle, and they're pretty good horror
Conjuring,
movies.
yeah, those are
I
good.
legitimately like these movies, but they're these like popcorn movies. It's these like big kind of spectacle movies with like the big crazy demons and like this is like your like. Yeah, you're like psychological horror that like makes you feel uncomfortable and uneasy, and like you don't even know what's real and what's not anymore.
Yeah, so hard thrill.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a good one. This would be a good one to either. You don't want to start the night or end the night with this one. You want to watch this one in the middle because you need something poppy to start the night with that catches your attention, and you need something really fun to end the night because everyone's tired because you've been watching a bunch of movies. This is the one you want to put in like second movie where your peak interest.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so that's it. That's the end of our list.
Yeah.
So it's time to wrap the show up.
Okay, let's do it.
If you like to,
Let me get the wrapping paper.
Yeah, go ahead. Can you put it here? I'll put my finger here.
Yep.
Wrap the bow.
Yep.
It's just kind of like this. Mm-hmm. Perfect.
All right.
Sick.
All right, I'm gonna go.
If you like the show, make sure to leave a 5-star review, which you can do in app. I'd really appreciate it. Plus, it really helps the show. And I'll read a review on the show like it did Rob Maines. He's the one review we have, and he called it fire. He said it was a great podcast. Thanks, Rob.
That review cost Jose a whole $10.
Rob Maine is my fake name. I paid myself to...
Rob Maine is an anagram for Jose Valle.
Yeah. You can also support the show by going to patreon.com/captainslogcast and donate $1. Anything helps keep the lights on. Mason doesn't know this. I've just been living in his bathroom.
Oh my God, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. You notice your food started going missing?
I
That
did.
was me. I got real hungry. Sorry.
Okay, well...
I'll eat less.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Remember, if you donate, it all goes towards improving the show, getting better recording equipment, and it helps with my other creative endeavors, which actually I do have to thank everybody that donated for the festival fees for Static. That was a great help. Really appreciate that. You can also, if you're not comfortable with Patreon, you can go and donate on Venmo. Just Venmo me money.
Also,
at J-Valle27. Let me make sure. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
just so you know, 5 cents of every dollar you donate actually goes to me overthrowing Jose and replacing him as the host of this show.
And fulfilling my dad's dream of it being Captain's Log.
The shadow, this is
Mason
the shadow government, which is your dad controlling me and replacing you as the figurehead of this podcast.
Yeah, if you'd also like to donate, you can do it through Venmo, and it's J-Valle27, V-A-L-L-E 27. Any amount helps. Even $1.
Next podcast, he's going to remember that, and so he doesn't have to look it up in the middle of the show.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do that. But yeah, it all goes towards improving the show and any other creative stuff that we work on. Of course, if you donate, not only will you receive access to early episodes on Patreon, which I gotta get on that, but you will also get a shout out on the show. Mason, is there anything that you would like to plug while you're here?
If you would like to hear more of me on Captain's Log, please let Jose know.
I think I will have you back, actually. I was thinking about that.
He doesn't believe me when I tell people that they want to hear my voice.
No one does.
You get a whole 3 viewers from my family. So...
Listen, mate.
So now you have 5 viewers.
Your family told me you paid them to listen to that episode.
Why would I... Okay, well... Okay, but I'll pay people to listen to the podcast. So.
They weren't supposed to say that. I don't know why they said that. That's really fucking...
Now you get 5 viewers, not 5 listeners instead of 3, so...
We're almost at 1,000 downloads overall.
Oh, yeah, well, to be fair, I just keep downloading it.
Nice. Thanks.
I've been cutting your voice together to say a bunch of gross things.
Oh, that's what... You too? Man, everybody keeps doing that.
Actually, here, let me play one right now.
Hey, I'm Jose Valle, and I want to tell you all to suck a bag of penises from pigs.
Oh, and here's a really good one where I tell him that I should be in charge of his podcast.
My name is Jose Valle, and I think that Mason Schrader should be the one hosting Captain's Log
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's pretty good. I think
Oh,
that's been going pretty well for me.
can't believe you've been doing that behind my
I
back.
know, it's really great.
Those are pretty good too. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about editing, but
Obviously,
sounded
I listened
pretty
to the
good.
show.
you okay? But so you don't have anything else to plug, Mason?
No, not really.
You're not on social media that much, are
I'm
you?
not. No, I'm
Yeah.
really not. I try to avoid social media. If we start
Do
doing
you have a
podcast,
YouTube channel that you want to plug or anything like that?
You can check out. I've got some short films. It's
I'll
just Mason
link your-
Schrader on
yeah, I'll link it.
YouTube. That's Mason Schrader without a C. The Schrader does not have a C in it.
CHRADER.
No, it's without a C.
What did I say?
You said C.
Oh damn it. CH.
No, you said
No,
C.
damn it.
Jesus Christ, Jose.
My head is thinking S, but I'm saying C. SHRADER.
Yeah. So you can check that out. I got some short films I'll be working on. I've got some upcoming projects, some scripts that I'm writing that I'm going to be turning in. I'm on a podcast called Captain's Log, and I'll be also starting my own podcast here.
Excited for that.
Yes. Featuring Jose in the next coming month or two called Dunces and Dimwits.
Yes.
Which will be us playing through a campaign of. I don't think I can actually legally say which tabletop role-playing game we'd be playing, but it sounds like Dunces and Dimwits.
The letter after
Oh, this got weird.
C and the letter after C.
I didn't need your help. I can plug this myself. So, and so we'll be playing through a tabletop role-playing game as people who have never actually really played it before, along with a dungeon master who is very good
Yes,
at
he is.
it. So
Good
that'll
guy,
be.
too.
I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then when that comes up, I'll definitely link it on the show and stuff.
Yeah.
You can follow me on Instagram at j.valle_, and you can follow the show on Twitter at Captain's Log Pod, as well as subscribe on YouTube, where you can find me as Jose Valle Jr. I just made that change. That's gonna be my entertainment name in the
Jose Valle
entertainment.
Jr..
Yeah, I'm gonna be
So,
J.
so it's just your name with Junior.
Well, that's my legal name, but yeah. So I'll be like
So
an
it's your
RDJ.
legal
You know what I
name.
mean? Like Robert Downey Jr. Because the juniors make it bigger in Hollywood than
JVJ.
anybody else. Yeah, JVJ.
I like it, but it's not an entertainment name. It's just your
It's
name.
my entertainment
Your
name.
entertainment name to this point has been Jose Valle,
And now it's
you're
Jose
just
Valle
using
Jr..
Your name, Jose Valle Jr.
Um,
I do like JVJ though.
thanks.
It's good.
So yeah, you can find me on YouTube as Jose Valle Jr. Make sure to tell your friends and family about the show if you enjoyed. Make sure to write into captainslogcast@gmail.com with suggestions on episode topics, guests you'd like to have back, or recommendations for check this out. So that's like a segment I do where I recommend movies, but I didn't do it this time because
you didn't have to describe it to me because we didn't do it.
I was describing it for myself. I forgot what it was. I thought that was funny. Make sure to subscribe and download on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Play, and any other podcast directory. With that, everybody, we have reached the end of our show. Tune in next week at the same time and on the same frequency for another episode. I've been your Captain Jose Valle, and I've been joined by my first mate.
First mate. Do you call all your guests your
No,
first mate?
I've given them all different
Oh,
jobs.
so I get to be first mate.
Yeah. So like I had my buddy who was like he's like a car guy, and I think he was like engineer.
Oh, so
Yeah.
I'm basically Spock then.
Yeah, you're Spock. Yeah. I don't have a Bones yet, so
Oh, I don't know who's gonna be Bones.
I think Mason will be back. I want to have Mason back.
I'll be back. I'll force my way. I'll break
Yeah.
in while he's recording the podcast and do it with him.
But yeah, this has been Captain's Log, and we've reached the end of our transmission. Goodbye.
Boop. Okay, can we stop?
Anyway, so you were saying like some like anti-Semitic things earlier.
No, I wasn't. That's not funny. Turn the recording off. Anyway, so I was saying these anti-Semitic things.